Now to this week's market analysis. Here's Jeff Peterson and Elaine Kub.
Elaine, we're having a chance to talk about the markets on Wednesday afternoon. It's that time of year again, and they're taking the insurance prices. What kind of numbers are we seeing out there?
Well, at this point, if you averaged all the February closes for December corn and November soybeans, you'd be at about $573 for the corn insurance guarantee and about $1301 for the soybean guarantee. And there's only a week left in the month of February, so it's going to be pretty mathematically hard for those numbers to change very much. But those are profitable numbers. Those are a good backstop for farmers this year, and it gives that soybean to corn ratio about 2.2 to 1.
Okay.
So at this point, that still motivates more corn acres than soybean acres.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. It's an important part of the marketing plan to have those numbers and kind of get us ready. It seems like we've had a week in here where there's been a few surprises. The soybean market has really surprised me this week.
Wow.
What do you see going on there?
Well, the story about soybeans is really, if you look back to last week when they were collapsing this about 70 cents in the course of last week, and even at the time you got the feeling that if this was any other week of the year, if it wasn't the Lunar New Year holiday for the Chinese traders, that somebody would have been stepping in there and stopping that fall. But I think because, in my opinion, because we didn't have the Asian business that week, it just kept on falling and the speculators kept on liquidating, perhaps looking at some of the sequestration stuff going on in the government budget.
Right.
And then finally, we get Chinese traders back this week, and it popped back up within 2 days. The first two trading sessions this week, we were up at least 67 cents. So, I mean, incredible volatility in these past 7 sessions. Yeah,
it has been really incredibly volatile. Now, it seems like harvest is progressing down there. What's it like at the ports? What are you hearing? Is beans flowing out of there really well, or are they having some problems?
I heard something about a Brazilian port strike. Yeah. So, and I don't really know too much about that, and there still is the question about, I think it sounds like the harvest yields are going to turn out pretty well in Brazil, but there's still questions there and certainly questions in Argentina. So I don't think at this point that we can turn entirely bearish for South American crop at this point.
So what do you think on the bean side? This move we're having now, is this something we sell, on the old and new crop, or do we just kind of sit back and wait yet?
Yeah, I have been a seller of beans for the past many months because I just don't like the risk of this really squirrely market.
Right.
And particularly in the old crop, we're right about that. This is Wednesday, and I don't know if we can make it through that $15 level. If we do make it through the $15 level, then that's a different story. But there might be resistance here, and this may be, maybe as high as the market can get before you find willing sellers. So yeah, I'm a seller of old crop soybeans, but I have not been marketing many 2013 beans yet.
Okay, well, good. I know we have some other news that's coming. USDA's got their Ag Outlook forum that's going to be starting. What are you thinking we're going to see coming out of that?
Well, the big talk for months now has been the idea of a lot larger acreage, planted acreage for corn, and I don't know. I think that USDA in these outlook meetings tends to be more conservative. Okay. And the other question, obviously, is whether they use trendline yields after these last several years of poor yields. And again, they tend to be conservative and not take too much into account, no actual survey-based data, perhaps not even too much of the drought data into their yield numbers. Okay. So I wonder if the market will kind of take their yield numbers with a grain of salt, given the fact that we still have a very severe or exceptional drought in the Western Corn Belt.
And what are you seeing going on in this corn market?
Again, the drought is the reason why I have still been pretty aggressive and holding off on new crop sales. Because I wonder if that drought is really priced into the market yet. It does not feel to me that it is. So in the sales that you make, typically you might think about selling here because you're making a profit or because seasonally this tends to be a good time of year to be making pre-harvest sales. If you do that, I think it's important to make sure that you're not selling more than you can certainly deliver to a place that you're writing a forward cash contract to, or perhaps leaving yourself some upside with an option strategy.
Yeah, that is true. Everybody's concerned about the weather. I know it's really hard to make decisions to make some sales in here. What do you think from the export side? It's been struggling on the corn side. Do you think we're going to see anything better coming down the road, or what do you think there?
No, I'm not hopeful for larger corn exports because I don't think we've got the corn to export. I think we're going to run out of the stuff here in this country, let alone shipping it out the door. So we're already importing Brazilian ethanol. I think the chances of corn imports is more likely than a chance of a higher corn export number in 2013. And that has pretty long-term implications for the market when you talk years down the road. We've effectively weaned our international customers off of our corn. They're going to other suppliers. India even is picking up a big chunk of the export market. So in future years, are they even going to need U.S. corn? Something to think about.
You know, that's a very good point, because what's happening here is markets are changing as we're going forward. So as we think about this corn market in here, I know it's always hard to make some sales. What do you think a guy does here? Do we sit tight and wait on sales, or do we make some here? Or what do you think we should do?
Yeah, the new crop corn market has been pretty flat, and the old crop corn market too has not followed soybeans up this week. So yeah, it's hard to see them getting as much excitement from even the speculators or from the Asian export business like you mentioned. That's just kind of not there. So I'm not super bullish on that right now, but to the degree of old crop corn going into the late spring and summer, we just don't have it, and I think people are just going to have to pay for it. I think it's going to get wild, whether it gets wild as basis or it gets wild as futures. I think people are going to have some really excellent selling opportunities.